What if everything you've been told about aging is wrong? What if getting weaker, slower, and more tired isn't inevitable but optional? As a surgeon, I've seen bodies in their 60s and 70s rebuild strength, reverse pain, and regain energy simply by moving the right way. Today, I'm revealing 5 science-backed exercises that don't just slow aging, they actually push it in reverse at the cellular level. Stick with me, because the final one is the reason most people age rapidly after 40, and almost no one is talking about aging is commonly thought of as something that simply happens because time passes, but in reality it is driven far more by what we stop doing than by how many years we've lived. The human body is incredibly adaptive, and it constantly responds to the signals it receives from daily life. When movement decreases, when muscles are no longer challenged, when joints stop moving through full range, and when the nervous system is no longer required to stay sharp, the body begins to downshift. Muscle tissue shrinks, bone density decreases, balance deteriorates, and energy production inside cells slows down. These changes are often labeled as normal aging, but they are actually the predictable consequences of disuse. Muscle loss, in particular, plays a massive role in how fast the body ages. Muscle is not just responsible for strength or appearance, it is deeply involved in regulating blood sugar, controlling inflammation, supporting joint stability, and maintaining metabolic health. When muscle mass declines, insulin resistance increases, fat accumulates more easily, and the risk of chronic diseases rises sharply. This is why 2 people of the same age can look and feel decades apart. One continues to send the body a signal to stay strong and capable, while the other unknowingly signals the body to conserve energy and break down tissue. Mobility loss is another major driver of aging that often goes unnoticed. Joints are designed to move, and when they stop moving fully, circulation decreases and tissues stiffen. Cartilage, which has no direct blood supply, relies on movement to receive nutrients. Without it, joints become painful, posture deteriorates, and even breathing can become restricted. This creates a cycle where discomfort leads to less movement, and less movement leads to more discomfort. Over time, this cycle accelerates the aging process and reduces quality of life. Balance and nervous system function are just as critical. As balance declines, confidence in movement drops. People begin to avoid activities they once enjoyed, not because they can't do them, but because they're afraid of falling or getting hurt. This fear-driven inactivity speeds up physical and cognitive decline. The nervous system thrives on challenge, and when it's no longer stimulated through coordinated movement, reaction time slows, awareness fades, and the brain itself begins to age faster. At the cellular level, aging is closely tied to energy production. When physical demand is low, the body produces fewer mitochondria, the structure responsible for generating energy. This leads to fatigue, slower recovery, and increased vulnerability to disease. However, when the body is challenged through purposeful movement, it responds by becoming more efficient, stronger, and more resilient. The most important takeaway is that aging is not a fixed downhill slide. It is a process that can be influenced, slowed, and in many cases partially reversed. When muscle is rebuilt, mobility is restored, balance is trained, and cellular energy systems are reactivated, the body shifts into a more youthful state. This doesn't require extreme workouts or perfection, but it does require consistent movement. That sends the message that the body is still needed, still capable, and still expected to perform. Brisk walking is one of the most underestimated tools for slowing, even reversing aspects of aging, largely because it looks too simple to be powerful. In reality, when walking is done with intention and consistency, it creates a cascade of positive changes throughout the body that few other activities can match. Unlike casual movement, brisk walking elevates the heart rate enough to strengthen the cardiovascular system, while still being gentle on the joints, making it accessible for almost every age and fitness level. This balance is what makes it such a sustainable and effective anti-aging practice. When you walk at a pace where your breathing is deeper but still controlled, your heart and blood vessels adapt by becoming more efficient and elastic, blood flow improves, Oxygen delivery increases, and the workload on the heart decreases over time. Healthier blood vessels mean better circulation to every organ, including the brain. This improved circulation supports memory, focus, and emotional stability, which is why regular walkers often report better mood and mental clarity. Research has shown that walking can reduce the risk of cognitive decline and support long-term brain health by increasing blood flow and stimulating the release of neuroprotective chemicals. One of the most powerful effects of brisk walking happens at the metabolic level. Walking helps muscles absorb glucose from the bloodstream more effectively, reducing insulin resistance. This is critical because chronically elevated blood sugar accelerates aging by damaging blood vessels, nerves, and organs. By improving how the body handles sugar, walking lowers the risk of type 2 diabetes and reduces inflammation, both of which are major contributors to premature aging. Over time, this simple daily habit can dramatically improve metabolic health without the stress placed on the body by more intense exercise. Joint health is another area where walking shines. Every step acts like a pump, pushing synovial fluid into the joints of the ankles, knees, and hips. This fluid delivers nutrients to cartilage and helps remove waste products, keeping joints smooth and functional. For people who experience stiffness or pain, especially in the morning, regular walking can restore ease of movement and reduce discomfort. Rather than wearing joints down, properly paced walking actually protects them by keeping surrounding muscles strong and supportive. At the cellular level, brisk walking has been associated with longer telomeres, which are protective structures on DNA that shorten as we age. Longer telomeres are linked to reduced risk of chronic disease and a slower biological aging process. Walking also reduces stress hormones like cortisol, which when elevated for long periods can accelerate aging and weaken the immune system. By calming the nervous system, while simultaneously strengthening the body, walking creates an ideal environment for repair and regeneration. Perhaps most importantly, walking reinforces the habit of daily movement. It keeps the body engaged, maintains independence, and builds a foundation for other forms of exercise. When walking becomes a regular part of life, the body stays responsive, joints stay mobile, energy stays higher, and aging slows not because of anything extreme, but because the body is consistently reminded that it is meant to move. Strength training is one of the most powerful yet misunderstood tools for healthy aging, often dismissed as something only for athletes or people chasing a certain physique. In reality, its greatest value lies in its ability to preserve the very systems that keep the body resilient, functional, and metabolically healthy over time. As the body ages, it naturally loses muscle mass, a process known as sarcopenia, and without intervention this loss accelerates every decade. Muscle tissue is essential not just for movement, but for protecting joints, supporting posture, regulating blood sugar, and maintaining overall vitality. When muscles are challenged through resistance, the body responds by rebuilding those tissues stronger and more efficient than before. This process sends a clear signal that strength and capacity are still required, slowing or even reversing age-related muscle loss. Stronger muscles stabilize joints and absorb force that would otherwise be transferred to ligaments and cartilage, reducing the risk of injury and chronic pain. This is why individuals who strength train often experience less joint discomfort and greater confidence. In everyday activities like climbing stairs, lifting objects, or standing for long periods. Beyond movement, muscle plays a crucial role in metabolic health. It acts as a reservoir for glucose, helping regulate blood sugar levels and improving insulin sensitivity. When muscle mass declines, blood sugar becomes harder to control, increasing the risk of diabetes and other metabolic disorders that accelerate aging. By maintaining or building muscle through strength training, the body becomes more efficient at managing energy, which leads to steadier energy levels, reduced fat accumulation, and lower inflammation. This metabolic stability is a cornerstone of longevity. Strength training also influences hormones and chemical messengers that impact aging. Contracting muscles release myokines, which are anti-inflammatory and support immune function, cardiovascular health, and even brain health. These myokines help counteract chronic low-grade inflammation, often referred to as inflammaging, which is strongly linked to age-related disease. Regular resistance training has been associated with improved cognitive function and a reduced risk of neurodegenerative conditions, highlighting how deeply connected muscle health is to brain health. Bone density is another critical factor in aging that strength training directly supports. Bones adapt to stress, and when muscles pull on them during resistance exercise, bones respond by becoming stronger and denser. This reduces the risk of osteoporosis and fractures, which can dramatically impact quality of life as people age. Strong bones combined with strong muscles create a body that is better equipped to handle the demands of daily life without fear or limitation. Perhaps most importantly, strength training preserves independence. The ability to move freely, carry groceries, get up from the floor, and maintain balance is directly tied to muscle strength. People who maintain strength as they age are more likely to remain active, socially engaged, and confident in their bodies. Strength training does not need to be extreme or complicated to be effective. Consistent, well-chosen movements performed a few times per week are enough to signal the body to stay capable, adaptable, and biologically younger for years to come. Balance and mobility are often overlooked aspects of fitness, yet they play a central role in how well the body ages and how confidently a person moves through daily life. Balance is not just the ability to stand on one leg or avoid falling, it is a reflection of how well the brain, nervous system, muscles, and joints communicate with one another. As people age, this communication can weaken if it is not regularly challenged, leading to slower reactions, unsteady movement, and a growing fear of physical activity. That fear alone can accelerate aging by reducing movement and limiting engagement with the world. When balance is trained intentionally, the nervous system stays alert and responsive. Small adjustments made by the body during balance exercises require constant feedback between the brain and muscles, strengthening neural pathways that control coordination and reaction time. This has a direct impact on safety, as improved balance significantly reduces the risk of fall, which are one of the leading causes of injury and loss of independence in older adults. But beyond prevention, balance training enhances confidence. When people trust their bodies again, they move more freely, take fewer precautions, and remain physically active longer. Mobility is equally essential and closely tied to balance. Mobility refers to the ability of joints to move through their full range of motion with control and ease. Over time, if joints are not taken through these ranges, the surrounding tissues adapt by becoming tighter and less elastic. This restriction reduces circulation, increases stiffness, and often leads to chronic pain. Many people assume this discomfort is simply part of getting older, when in reality it is often the result of underused movement capacity. Restoring mobility brings profound benefits. When joints move fully, synovial fluid circulates, nourishing cartilage and keeping joints healthy. Muscles and connective tissues regain elasticity, allowing movement to feel smoother and less effortful. Improved mobility also enhances posture, which affects breathing efficiency, spinal health, and even digestion. Poor posture compresses the chest and abdomen, limiting oxygen intake and placing unnecessary strain on the spine. By restoring natural movement patterns, mobility work helps the body function as it was designed to. Balance and mobility training also have a strong cognitive component. Coordinated movements, controlled transitions, and stability challenges require focus and awareness, keeping the brain engaged. Research suggests that such activities support cognitive health and may slow age-related mental decline. When movement requires attention, the brain stays active and adaptable, reinforcing the connection between physical and mental health. Another critical benefit is the reduction of compensatory movement patterns. When mobility is limited, the body finds ways around restrictions, often placing stress on areas not designed to handle it. This leads to overuse injuries and persistent pain. Improving mobility allows the body to distribute forces more evenly, reducing strain and improving efficiency. Ultimately, balance and mobility training protect independence. The ability to move confidently, react quickly, and access full joint ranges allow people to continue doing what they love without hesitation. These qualities don't fade simply because of age, they fade when they are neglected. When balance and mobility are consistently practiced, the body remains agile, adaptable, and capable of meeting the demands of life with stability and ease. Short bursts of high-intensity effort have a unique and powerful effect on the aging process, largely because they challenge the body in a way that triggers deep cellular adaptation. Unlike steady, low-effort activity, high-intensity exercise forces the body to respond quickly and efficiently, activating systems that tend to decline with age if they are not regularly stimulated. These brief periods of intense work send a strong signal that the body must maintain speed, power, and resilience, qualities that are closely associated with youth and vitality. One of the most important effects of high-intensity effort occurs inside the cells, specifically within the mitochondria. Mitochondria are responsible for producing the energy required for every function in the body, from muscle contraction to brain activity. As people age, mitochondrial number and efficiency tend to decline, leading to fatigue, slower recovery, and reduced metabolic function. High-intensity exercise stimulates mitochondrial biogenesis, meaning the body creates new mitochondria and improves the performance of existing ones. This increase in cellular energy production supports overall vitality and slows biological aging at a fundamental level. High-intensity training also has a profound impact on insulin sensitivity. During intense muscular effort, large amounts of glucose are rapidly pulled from the bloodstream into working muscles, improving the body's ability to regulate blood sugar. Over time, this reduces insulin resistance, which is a major driver of aging. Related diseases such as type 2 diabetes and cardiovascular disease. Better blood sugar control means less damage to blood vessels, nerves, and organs, contributing to long-term health and longevity. Cardiovascular adaptation is another key benefit. Short, intense bouts of exercise challenge the heart to pump efficiently and adapt to rapid changes in demand. This improves heart strength, increases stroke volume, and enhances oxygen delivery throughout the body. Studies consistently show that even small amounts of high-intensity training can significantly improve cardiovascular fitness, which is one of the strongest predictors of lifespan. A more efficient heart reduces strain on the circulatory system and supports better endurance in daily activities. There is also a strong hormonal response to high-intensity exercise. Brief, intense effort increases the release of growth hormone and other anabolic hormones that support tissue repair, muscle maintenance, and fat metabolism. These hormones naturally decline with age, but exercise-induced stimulation helps counteract that decline. Additionally, high-intensity training reduces chronic inflammation over time by improving metabolic efficiency and reducing excess fat, which is a major source of inflammatory signaling. Another often overlooked benefit is the psychological and neurological impact. High-intensity efforts require focus, determination, and rapid coordination, engaging the nervous system in a way that keeps it sharp and responsive. This improves reaction time and mental resilience, reinforcing the connection between physical challenge and cognitive health. Perhaps the most empowering aspect of high-intensity exercise is its efficiency. It does not require long sessions or complex routines to be effective. Just a few short bursts performed consistently can create meaningful change. When incorporated safely and progressively, high-intensity effort reminds the body that it is still capable of speed, power, and adaptation. This reminder alone can shift how the body ages, promoting strength, energy, and resilience far beyond what most people believe is possible.